Hi, everyone. What is today? Wednesday. Yes, today is Wednesday. I will remember the days of the week at some point in my life, I swear. So I'm starting this, and this is a weird week, but I'm going to go over kind of our family expenses from the last week, from us coming back from our trip, which was tons of fun. It was wonderful to spend a whole week with my parents and with my sister and brother-in-law, and seeing my kids with their family, since we all live kind of all over the country. It was really cool getting together for the whole week and being able to do a bunch of stuff. Ooh. Sorry. Oh, it was so much fun. We went on the lake, went to the Titanic Museum. That was really, really cool. Survived. Super excited. Survived. Husband did not. Daughter did. A teenager and I survived. Surprisingly, on the same lifeboat, actually. That was really cool. My husband didn't make it. We were very sad about that. So in coming back, I'm not doing all the expenses from that trip because it was so one off, and it kind of spanned the end of July and the very, very beginning of August. So I'm starting the expenses from the 5th, which was Tuesday, so a week ago. So it's from the 5th through the 11th. And I'm going to try to do this. I don't know how well this is going to work out for me, but we will attempt. So all of our streaming stuff comes out automatically, and I keep wanting to get rid of one or two of them. I mean, we don't spend a ton on it, but we spend enough on it. But my kids like one or two shows from all of these different services, so I feel like I can't actually get rid of any of them. Peacock, we just watched a ton of because we watch the Tour de France every year. So we're watching that every day. I think it has some football on it sometimes. Oh, football. It's everywhere. Can we have one place for football? Apparently not with all the streaming services. So there is much more eating out than I would normally do. And that is partly because we're coming back from this trip. So on our drive home, which we came home on Tuesday, we did stop and we picked up some lunch. Yeah, because we left at like 10 o'clock in the morning to drive home. So we picked up lunch and we got gas at a Casey's. And so feeding most of my family, some of us had been snacking, and I mean that is me, and didn't actually eat lunch except for stole a few little like popcorn chicken bites off of my toddler. So a few of us got stuff, and we got gas on the way home. That was all we did that. Well, that's what it hit the account that day. This is based on when it actually clears our account. Mostly just because there are some things like when we go grocery shopping, if we do a pickup order, which really helps me cut down on impulse spending. Jeez, words work for me, I swear. Doing pickup really helps me cut down on those impulse buys and just walking around going, ooh, this looks good. I could totally do something with this. That I did that like on Tuesday, but it hit the account on Wednesday. But when I do a pickup, it like double charges me for a minute, and there's like 2 pending charges for like my estimated amount, and then for like the actual final total, because you have stuff like fruit and vegetables in there that are weights. And so it always double charges me. So it'll look like I spent like $500 at the grocery store instead of this $224 almost dollars. And so that one I tend to wait for it to clear the account before I write it in, just because sometimes I don't even remember which one's which. Ooh, I can totally write. So there's also not only just several eating out charges, there's also a bunch of gas charges. We did fill up a couple of times on the drive home. And then when we got home, we do have several cars. And we like taking different cars at different times. My husband commutes, it's always a guess on which car he took into the office that day. And so they tend to all get filled up all about the same time. So we'll see just like gas charge after gas charge after gas charge after gas charge just from filling up like 3 or 4 different cars. That day, I went back to work that day. My kids were still on summer. They're back at school now. And my teenager, who's actually a freshman in high school now, officially, I can't tease her about it anymore, was helping out at the middle school on Wednesday. And so I actually got me and my 2 oldest Subway, and we had coupons for it. So that's how I fed 3 people for like $16, which was, I thought, knowing Subway nowadays, was very impressive. I also, I think this Chick-fil-A was actually on Tuesday that we actually had it, but it cleared the account on Wednesday, just because there's always that fun delay. From driving all the way home, I knew on our drive home that we would end up eating out on Tuesday for dinner. We had been gone that whole week, and it just was not something I was going to attempt to even try. We had been gone, our fridge was empty. I'd made sure it got cleared out before we left, so there was just nothing that was going to happen. I knew we were eating out. Well, I guess my 2 oldest now do dance, and over the summer there's fundraisers, and this one was for the dance team. So I actually split it because I do also have to pay for dance technique classes at a studio along with new dance shoes. So dance shoes will be coming out this week. That's what we were doing yesterday. No. Yes, that's what we were doing yesterday. All my days are mixed up. So the dance team is quite small. There's only 13 girls on it. So I split up what we gave between 2 accounts just because I knew the dance account or category I was also going to be having to pay for dance shoes and possibly tuition out of it, so I didn't want to completely deplete it with a fundraiser. There is only 13 girls on that dance team, so us being able to help and fundraise for them and be able to give a little bit more than I necessarily would otherwise. Band also had a fundraiser. I did not give as much to the band fundraiser. I thought it was more important because band has like 130 students or something like that. I just thought it was more important to give to the dance team in the capacity that we could. You can tell when I put gas in our car, you get this nice round number. And when my husband does it, and it's just it's whatever cents. And that's just my own weirdness. So our 2 littles, we have 2 under 2. They have not been sleeping lately. They do daycare. This one is going to be off because last Friday, we pay it every Friday. Last Friday, it actually double paid for our toddler. So this is just our infant. So last week it was like $475 because it double paid for our toddler. So this week we only paid for our infant since the toddler was prepaid. So it's a little weird from what we would normally see. I told you there is so many gas charges in this for this week. I couldn't tell you what car we were filling up. I couldn't tell you like where we were going. It's just been crazy. So this groceries was a full restock. I got snacks for all the kids. I got meats and veggies and anything for meals. But then of course I actually started planning meals and had to get a couple of other things. So this is going to have a bunch of different things in it. The total trip, just because I like writing the total so that I can see it when I go into my like bank account. The total trip is this $128. That does get broken down with the babies, which was some formula because we were almost out and I had an order in that we'll get to later. I wanted to try cold brew, so I bought myself some cold brew at the store, and instead of putting it in groceries, we have extra in our coffee budget, which will probably by the end of this month get moved into different categories since we don't. I had overfunded it this month due to the trip. But since I knew I had extras in there, I'm just funding it. I'm funding my cold brew out of this. We did have to get a couple of household items. Oh no, I know what they were, like shampoo and conditioner, that sort of stuff. I think that might have been it. Just shampoo and conditioner for me. So I did have household stuff in this too. And then the remainder, I round these and then just put the remainder in as groceries. Because that ends up how that goes. Oh, I forgot how I was going to write this. Because then I did an Amazon order, and that was really just the two. It was really just the babies and other. And the babies were, you know, a pack of diapers, new shoes for the toddler, since she's actually growing. And then, we have locks on our cabinets. We're about to paint our cabinets, and I hate these locks. So I got new locks. I got a different style of locks so that when we paint all our kitchen cabinets, we can just put the new locks on. And then it'll be nice and clean. In all fairness, I have no idea how this ended up such a perfectly round number. That is legitimately what it was. I did not round that. That is what came out of my account. So weird. I had a $25 Amazon gift card. So there is like a new pair of shoes for me because mine were absolutely falling apart. There was holes in the side. You could see like my toenail through it. I really needed new shoes. But I used a $25 gift card for those. So that's why it doesn't appear on this list, because those were used with a gift card. You know, I say we didn't do much, and then Monday hits and everything that we did over the weekend hits. So we went to Sam's Club this weekend. The nearest Sam's Club is like an hour away. So we went to Sam's Club and we ended up eating lunch there. We went early enough that we could eat. I don't like going on a weekend, but Sam's Club is nice. We do also have a Costco. We just do Sam's Club because I can order things online and get free delivery, and that's usually what I do, but we needed to go into town anyways. So we ended up at Sam's Club. So of course that feeds $7 will feed the 4.5 of us. So Tyler doesn't really eat much. And it might not be the best and healthiest, but it's a fun treat and my kids really like it. So that's what we do. And then of course that is offset by the astronomical amount of almost $300 that we end up spending. And it is, I guess it's not a ton of different things. Baby, household, and then groceries. If I spell any of this wrong, I suck at spelling. I've always laughed in elementary school when they did spelling bees because I knew I will just sit my butt back down. I have forgotten how to spell the word the. That was a really fun day in high school. Should I have fully admit that? Probably not. But I think it's hilarious now, and my kids like to laugh at me for it. So I think it's a good reminder, especially for them, that nobody's perfect. We all have silly things that we do. What exactly I got, I could not tell you. I know baby's got formula, and I know I just got some here, but this was to hold us over because we knew we were going to Sam's Club, but we were literally out of formula that day. Household was like toilet paper, and then everything else was Uncrustables for lunches and oh golly, what else did we? I know we got more stuff. Oh, a ton of snacks. So we're going back to school. We went back to school yesterday. So my kids usually pack their lunch, so a ton of snacks and everything for them. And after school snacks, and they just got whatever in the world that they wanted. Of course, on our way down to Sam's Club, since it is like an hour for us, we did treat everybody. So we have a Scooters in town. Do we also technically have a Starbucks? Yes. Does my family prefer Scooters at the moment? Yes. Why? Not entirely sure. It is much closer to our house. Starbucks is kind of across town. But we are doing Scooters right now. And because we drove all that way, we again had to fill up the car. Because why make it easy on ourselves? I can totally read my own handwriting. Oh, I mixed up. Two different things are they're almost the exact same amount and they're two different things. Partly why we went. Sam's Club is an hour away. Target is also an hour away. There used to be one in town. There's not anymore. That makes me super, super sad. Target left town like a year before I moved here. So I never did get to experience a Target in town, but that one with back to school stuff, that was why we ended up going, and my husband wanted to go to a pick and pull lot that he has enjoyed there. So we did go. We did have a gift card. My kids got some extra stuff. My daughter has what we call an emergency kit that's got like deodorant and perfume and hygiene products and whatever you could possibly need in an emergency that she keeps, and we were making sure that was all stocked. So she got like a little mini bottle of perfume there. And my other daughter wanted hoop earrings, so she picked out her own hoop earrings And we did have a gift card, so that's why $25 doesn't seem like a lot for like school supply shopping. And that's why, because that is not all of it. How in the world we went to the gas station so many times in a week, I have no idea. But we ended up doing that. This Target run surprisingly did not get everything that we needed. They were completely out of headphones with a wire with like the straight end so that it doesn't interfere with the iPads at school. Completely out of that. Completely out of something else that my teenager wanted. So when we got back to town, we do have a Walmart. So when we got back to town, we did end up at Walmart. We did stay home for like an hour and was just like, let's just rest for like an hour. And then we went to Walmart, get the rest of this stuff. I don't know how I keep ending up with like 25s and 40s next to each other. But that was the rest of the school stuff. And we needed like, I don't even know. My husband bought it. I don't know how to spell. We needed stuff for the car. And that's usually like oil and oil filters, wipers, refrigerant, something or other. I don't know. He handles all the car stuff. I'm just along for the ride. And that's just, we put in money every month for that. And then, of course, Monday was also the last day. It was the last day of summer. So we let the kids pick. They picked for lunch and dinner. It ended up being just because we were running around to the dance studio, to open house. My daughter had a band practice that evening too. We left the house at like 3:45, and I don't remember if we made it back home at any point. There was not enough time at home for me to even attempt to make dinner. But they picked Taco Bell for their last lunch before school started. And then we ended up, I had just enough lines for this. We ended up having a Subway gift card. So that is why Subway is expensive. I miss the $5 footlongs. But that is how we ended up only spending $2.46 at Subway on Monday night for dinner. Because we had a gift card for $25. And that got us, what, 3 sandwiches, I think? But that is an astronomical amount of spending in a week. But that's because we're restocking and coming home, and you know, I will make excuses for it on why it's like that, but it's just crazy. What I did also do then, though, was I did also write down how much was actually left in all of these categories that I just spent money out of. So I can see like what we still have in our grocery budget for the last half of the month. Eating out, totally cutting back on that. Childcare, I knew we were still going to be on track because I specifically looked at how many Fridays, because we pay every Friday, and I did how many Fridays and I calculated what that is every month. Streaming, we don't really, I mean, streaming is streaming. It comes out. I do think something was going up at the end of this month. Was it Peacock? Oh, dang. I don't remember. Something is going up. I got an email about it, and I cannot remember which one it is. Household, since I just restocked, plenty of shampoos and conditioners and toilet papers. Household, hopefully we are good on soaps and dishwasher cleaner and cat food. That's gonna need to be for cat food. That's right. My daughter just told me yesterday we need more cat food. We're not planning any more big trips going anywhere. As far as I know, maintenance that needs to accumulate. So while that looks decent for maintenance for a month, that actually, we paid our car registration last month. That needs to reaccumulate back up so we can pay it again next year. We're all stocked on diapers and formula now, so I'm not sure if that's going to go anywhere. Coffee, that one will probably end up not going in it. That will probably end up being zero, only to reuse that money if we start running low on grocery money, or the baby suddenly needs something and $70 isn't covering it, something else pops up. Dance has $100. That is going to go towards the dance shoes that I just bought yesterday. So this was all through Monday, so I'll end up doing the skin next week. I did spend more than $100 technically, but I bought shoes, which is about $100 between 3 different pairs of shoes, and I also paid for September's dance tuition, so I kind of need to figure that one out. School stuff also, I paid school fees. Yeah, this is gonna have to get rearranged slightly, or I'm gonna have to do, I don't know, I'm gonna have to do something. I think dance might be left alone and I'll just have like a negative until September, and then September tuition will come out of September's budget. But the school stuff, it's stuff that school fees used to be $80 and I spent $300 on school fees. So that's where coffee will go to. That's what that is. Coffee will go into school stuff and pay those school fees. And that's just how we're going to handle that. Dance will be September's tuition. Coffee will go to school stuff and pay those $300 of school fees between the two of them. Technology, that's what it is. My other daughter's old enough now for technology fees in school, and that's what it was. That's why it was more this year. Yeah, we'll do this. Budgets are a little flexible. The total at the bottom doesn't change, but if during the month the middle needs to get rearranged a little bit, then that's what we'll do. So thanks for this. Thanks for being here, I guess. I'm really just talking to myself at this point, and that's fine. This I'm doing for me. It's fun. It's entertaining for me. So thanks. Bye.